thing that they were finally getting rid of all this blight in these neighborhoods. And of course, some of the neighbors are happy because they're getting rid of, dangerous buildings. And something's happening instead of nothing happening. But the problem is the Land Realization Authority doesn't have money to market, and they've been hell-bent on land banking properties. I used to be a small developer myself in the city of St. Louis, and I've tried to deal with them before. I've called them and said, hey, I'm interested in this building that's on your for sale list. Well, that building's not really for sale. We're holding that for future development.
Oh, gosh.
And what happens while they're holding it for future development? That right there. And as a matter of fact, since this photo's been taken, the two buildings on the left were set afire and demolished just since this photo was taken about a month ago.
That's horrible.
So
What is?
maybe if they tore down houses in West County, you wouldn't have to tear it down.
I will say that.
So MSD gets off the hook, and so does the city. The city, because it has a bunch of derelict properties, and MSD, because it's a cheap way for them to deal with diverting storm.
So I will say I live in St. Louis City, and when they can, they do actually deconstruct the building and try to repurpose as much of the material as possible.
They sell them.
Working with
They sell them to
company
new
called
builders in
Peril.
Louisiana and Texas. That's what they do.
Yeah.
The materials?
It's a local
That's
business.
what Virginia told me is done. Could you enlighten us about that? Because that's an abomination. Could you enlighten us about that? Because I don't think a lot of people know.
That's where the big markets are, in the south, where new construction is going on. As a matter of fact, there was a story in last week's St. Louis Post-Dispatch about selling, what was just this week, as a matter of fact, about a perfectly salvageable building that was in South City that the family was tearing down. And they were talking about how wonderful it was, the history of the building was. They didn't talk about how awful it was that the building was being demolished. But they talked about the repurposing of the bricks, and the fellow who they were talking to, I think, got 43 cents each for the bricks that he was salvaging, and then they were sold at like 3 times the price to developers in Louisiana who were using them to build new houses.
There's also there's a good documentary, there's an article, and there's a podcast episode about that very thing. The name of the documentary is called Brick by Chance.
Brick by chance?
Brick by chance, yeah.
Okay, because UMKC has been feeding us that about the fabulous carriage house they're about to take down. Oh, they're going to reuse 4 bricks.
It's a joke.
Brick, what?
By chance.
Bricks by
Brick by
chance.
chance.
See, it used to be that someone who needed material for a project that they were restoring could go to one of these demolition sites and talk to the person who was doing the demo and negotiate with them to get some of the material that they needed for their own project. You can't do that anymore because it's already pre-sold
Right.
to other locations.
It's not fair.
When I saw those developments in Texas where those bricks are going, it's just,
Oh, and
it's
Really?
like Johnson County.
Oh,
They build
exactly.
build 8-foot brick walls around neighborhoods, and it's all the old
they
brick.
tout the fact that this was built all with St. Louis bricks.
Bill, what is this body of water? Is
That's
that?
just a puddle in the street.
Oh, it's not a lake or anything fancy. Okay.
That's stormwater there.
MSD created the project.
Yeah, exactly. Stormwater runoff.
Their stormwater drainage system.
Oh, right.
is insufficient,
Yes.
and they have a consent decree with the government to get it up to speed
Okay.
by a certain time, or get up to capacity by a
Right.
certain time, or divert some of the runoff, which is what the project should go in.
Okay.
The
Thank you.
nominator of the Kansas City Board of Education and Library Building, Sheila Demrick, is with us. She's hiding.
I nominated because I walk past it every day, and I'm a modernist. Brad and I work for the city of Kansas City, Missouri. We're in the process of doing a modern architecture survey. We've got 3,004 buildings, non-single family homes. And this just happened to be kind of the poster child, I think. Ms. Rosen over here, our hostess, she wrote the nomination. Rosen Conservation wrote the nomination for this. It is a nationally listed landmark. It's for sale. It's owned by the Board of Education of this city of Kansas City. If they want to tear it down, they can go. We can't stop them. This is an Edward Tanner building. It was towards the end of his career, I believe. He's most well known for Country Club Plaza style. And one of our commissioners said to us when he was in architecture school, they came to Kansas City and they did a walking tour, and they looked at this building and said, "Oh, this is awful. It needs to go. It's hideous." And he said 20 years later, he's like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad it's still there." People are starting to realize the value of modern buildings. There was a, what made me nominated, and I got really, I don't understand all the nuances of nominations and putting things in places in Peril, but this was going to be possibly a Drury hotel, and they put a RFP out of the hotel that was it looked like it belonged on the side of the highway in a suburb. This is an amazing building. The interior is even better. Again, Elizabeth has an amazing nomination written for this that hopefully we can disseminate.
And I will add to this that, Drury was considering a rehab, but with the current state of Missouri historic tax credit, they weren't willing to take the risk of whether or not the state credits would be there or not.
They've actually done restoration. I looked them up, and a lot of them.
Yeah, they did a big one in Wichita.
This is an incredibly important building, and there is not one single supporter on the city council.
They got turned down this week, didn't it? Or did Drury just
Drury
pull out
just-
themselves?
yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought it was city
They said
council.
that the city didn't offer them a good enough.
That's the building on McGee's, right?
They didn't get the incentives that they wanted, so. But I think they
somebody-
were really asking for.
There was somebody in City Hall who had the mindset of, let's not.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was EDC or City Hall or where it was.
But it is on the market again, so hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully we can find.
It's on McGee, is that
Find
correct?
somebody new that will-
It is on McGee.
McGee.
McGee and 12.
Okay, because I had a job interview for French teaching job in there, and I got the job, and I remember the building now.
There's some pretty serious
Right.
abatement issues in the Board of Trade building too, though. All those panels have asbestos in them.
Yeah, and that's been one of the big deterrents. It has a lot of environmental abatement that has to happen before it can, but it is so cool.
Can you guys educate us, I'm sorry to ask this, why it's important? I don't know.
Exactly.
Just
For
because.
someone
what?
who thinks that 1950s, 60s architecture is kind of past.
Well, that's not enough reason to get it on the nomination.
And
is
I
it?
don't remember exactly why it was nominated, because Rachel Nugent actually wrote the nomination, not me.
Okay.
But it has to do with a couple things. One, it was the first modern movement building constructed downtown Kansas City
Oh,
in the
okay.
mid-1950s. It was this Edward Tanner design, so it's an example of his work as well. But it also had to do with the way, the investment by the Board of Education and the relationship between the Board of Education and the Kansas City Public Library at the time, which the library was part of the Board of Education, and only later was the library separated from the school district. So that there are a lot of schools, of the historic schools around town that also had library branches in them. It had to do with that. There were some novel library amenities in this building as well.
Public art, there's some.
Public art.
Yeah, it has an amazing,
Yeah.
the base of that building is really, the spaces are
The stone detail's amazing, and the curtain wall.
There is.
And the way it's beautiful, if you go and just sit on the corner and look, the setback away from the Civic Mall, this step away, is really ingeniously done. And it's a good buffer between that and the new construction that we will see around that, between that and the Sprint Center and the Power and Light District. So it's a perfect transition between the mall downtown.
And it's a great building for an adaptive reuse, like it would be perfect for a hotel because it has those beautiful public spaces on the first floor. And the upper floors, you know, you can do whatever you want with, because there's.
I heard City Hall wanted it to expand offices and the school board turned
We'll
it
go,
down
city planning and development.
with an offer.
I don't,
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't think the school district though is like chomping at the bit to tear it down. They don't want to maintain it if it's gonna be a liability, but, there's some complicated relationships there between the school district and the real estate holding company, that was formed during GSEG, so.
Has it been vacant for like 15 plus years?
No, it's relatively a recent couple of years.
Yeah.
The library was gone for quite a while.
Oh, yeah, but just since they moved to Truce, so
Yeah,
2 years, a year and a half.
But the library's been gone for over a decade, yeah, but yeah, the building's fairly recent.
Did Drury ever talk about rehabbing it instead of tearing it down?
Yes, as Olivia said, they were just concerned about the state of the tax credit program.
Now it looks like, because it's not really a very old building, this building was built at a location where there was another building that was demolished.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yeah.
Was there a historic district?
I know plans for this building began in
No,
the
okay.
50s and it was
Something
finished
else.
by 1960, this building.
Okay.
The area was, I believe, from Brad and I talking, the area was filled with a lot of Victorian homes.
And Victorian homes are like 2-3-story commercial blocks.
Commercial blocks, thinking about that, I
Flats.
think commercial blocks. Before that, it had been actually more Victorian,
Yeah, longer.
before the thirties.
Just in that alone, it goes to show we tore down what now would be considered historic. Are we gonna tear down historic again?
Yeah.
Kansas City has had a habit of overriding its built environment.
Lots of cities.
Yes, it's not unique to Kansas.
This is the not Nevada, the
Nevada.
Nevada Post Office building in Nevada in Vernon County in southwest Missouri. It's really a huge post office building.
It's beautiful.
For such a small town. And they built it in response to the huge amount of mail that in both incoming and outgoing from a place called the Weltmer Institute, which was kind of a healing institute that relied on some medical and some experimental practices, including hypnosis. So a lot of their materials were printed materials and went out of the Nevada Post Office. The post office has been closed the post office built a new building in the 1960s. The sheriff's office and jail was moved to the Nevada Post Office when the new post office was constructed, and then they built a new justice center jail recently, and the Nevada Post Office has been vacant for about 10 years now. It is owned by someone who is amenable to selling it. And it has been, an eligibility assessment's been done, and it is eligible for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. So it would be a great tax credit project in this town, which has some amazing Cote colleges there. The W.F. Norman Company is still in existence, if you know.
Oh, yes.
Them and
They're great.
Yes, it has some amazing pressed tin storefronts.
Ceilings and roof
Yeah,
tiles.
yeah.
They just did some major renovation on their courthouse too.
Yes. This is another categorical listing, Missouri resources in state parks, historic resources in Missouri state parks statewide. There is a very convoluted way of, this is the Phillips Cay's house in Castlewood State Park in St. Louis County, and it had been nominated for several years. Nothing, since it has been nominated, has been done to improve the condition at this property whatsoever. It includes this house, it includes the old Case family cemetery, but the process for asking for funds, there are two different budgets that you have to submit to state parks. one of which can be very political and determined by the state legislature, how much money they can get. That's one problem. They were promised some money by the legislature that never came for this property. So what we're hoping is that state parks and our legislature might consider something like right now, the National Park Service and advocates for national parks are involved in something they call the National Parks Legacy Act, which will provide permanent funding for ongoing maintenance and capital improvements at state parks. The U.S. legislature has been very friendly toward it. Heretofore, it's been the same kind of process with something we don't like to hear anymore in the legislature, earmarks that were provided by U.S. legislators at bringing improvements to federal parks. So we're hoping that we can depoliticize the process in the state of Missouri by establishing some kind of fund for ongoing maintenance and capital improvements at parks that are for the backlog that's been in existence for a number of years.
So what is the current process for them allocating funds? Is it political at the Capitol?
Yes.
Because we've been working on Hohokam for 2 years. Which
Yeah,
is
there's a
the
budget
most
that they
highly visited.
right. So there's a budget that there are two different budgets that they present, and the first one is for like their ongoing maintenance of things, and the second one is for capital improvements that they needed for things like the Philip K's house, and that's where I was told that the politics really plays in the process. So it's when the park needs the most money that the process is the most politicized.
Then you have the lodge building at Roaring River that they cut up into like little rentable rooms, and it just broke my heart.
You know, the Division of State Parks has been more intent on creating new spaces, like, you know,